Welcome into the Lakers Report by Chat Sports. I am Harrison Graham, bringing you today's video, which is a loaded rumor show. We had a whole different segment built, but then a bunch of rumors dropped, and we were like, all right, we got to catch up the purple and gold on what's dropping here. Starting with this, Buddy Hield, could he get traded to the Lakers after all? Of course, the Lakers infamously traded for Russell Westbrook over Buddy last offseason, but Dave McMenamin reports that talks have resumed between the Lakers and the Indiana Pacers. Let's get to this report from McMenamin. He had to say this: one thing I've learned over the last day or two, tangentially, that there has been some talks re-engaged between the Lakers and the Pacers that would center around Buddy Hield. And could it be a deal that would include Russell Westbrook, if you're talking about also having Myles Turner in that deal? Or perhaps it could be a secondary move where you would be talking about a Taylor Horton-Tucker type of package to try and get Buddy Hield, and so we could see whether that would affect Russell or not. I'll tell you this before we get more thoughts on the possibility of getting Buddy Hield to Los Angeles. Make sure you turn on your notifications on the Lakers Report, because if a move like this happens, we're going to have you covered with the video. So if you've already subscribed, that's great, but you got to turn on that notification bell, because otherwise you may not get notified on your phone right away. And here's the deal: if your noties are turned on, type Noti Gang down in the comments. We'll give you guys a shout out on tomorrow's video. You look at some career stats for Buddy Hield and Myles Turner, who was also mentioned by McMenamin. Look, these would be two starting caliber players that you could be adding to your rotation. Buddy Hield, high volume three-point shooter. We know what he brings to the table. Myles Turner, one of the best shot blocking players in the NBA, who can also score and stretch out to the three-point line. This would be a major lift if you could get these two players. Now, Buddy Hield in particular, I think would be a great fit, because you need shooting, and he's a guy that can space the floor and is going to take a bunch of threes and is going to make a bunch of threes. He'll shoot 38, 39% most likely. I think that percentage will increase from last year playing next to a guy like LeBron James. This is who I wanted the Lakers to get last year, and they had a trade on the table with Sacramento, but again, like I mentioned, they pivoted to Russell Westbrook. Buddy would help tremendously. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I think if they would have made that trade for him last year would have gone a lot different, because you would have had more financial flexibility, could have added some more depth around LeBron and AD, but as we all know, they opted to go with Russ and the Big Three formula, which that obviously did not pay off. Now, who do you think is the better player? Because Myles Turner obviously is a better two-way player than Buddy Hield. Type BH for Buddy Hield, type MT for Myles Turner. I like them both. I think one or both would be a nice addition for this team. Now, here's a juicy rumor. How about swapping Anthony Davis for Jimmy Butler? Bill Simmons thinks that the Miami Heat would agree to a trade surrounding these two players for one another, which I find very interesting, to be honest. Here's what Simmons had to say on his podcast. If the Lakers called Miami up and said, hey, we'll give you Anthony Davis for Jimmy Butler, Miami is either doing it or they're having a 7-hour meeting before they decide not to do it. But I just think they would do it. If they can turn Jimmy Butler into Anthony Davis, I think they do it. And if I'm the Lakers, I'm doing cartwheels and I'm popping champagne. How would you not be thrilled with this? Number one, Jimmy Butler, as a number one player with the Miami Heat, has led them to an NBA Finals appearance against the Lakers in the bubble, a conference Finals appearance last year, and he's done that with basically no All-Stars around him. Sure, Bam Adebayo, but if you bring Jimmy Butler into LA next to LeBron to be his number two, Anthony Davis, who has been superbly injury prone the last couple of years, don't you have to be on board with that? I think you do. Jimmy Butler, his raw stats don't jump off, but he just elevates his play in the playoffs. He elevates players around him, and he just has that dog mentality, which I think is fair to say that Anthony Davis lacks at times. He just doesn't have that killer instinct, and Jimmy Butler absolutely does. Sure, you would be lacking in your front court if you did this, but AD's missed half of each of the last two seasons. Jimmy Butler is always available. He plays on both ends of the floor, and he elevates his play in crunch time. The lights do not shine too brightly for Jimmy Butler. I would be absolutely fired up if you could find a way to get Jimmy Butler in Los Angeles. And quite frankly, that's why I disagree with Bill Simmons. I don't think Miami would make that swap. 2 years ago, yes, because you're talking about Anthony Davis coming off a career year when he looked ready to take over the Lakers' as the #1 guy, but that has not happened in the past couple of seasons. I think right now, most teams in the NBA would take Jimmy Butler over AD. So would you trade AD for Jimmy Butler? I would. Type Y for yes, type in for no. If you're typing in for no, let me know why you disagree with me down in the comments, because I'm very interested to see what you guys have to say. Now, I mentioned earlier that you guys need to join the Noti gang so you know exactly when we publish a video here on the Lakers Report. Step 1 to doing that is subscribing, so please do so if you haven't already. But after you do that, click that bell icon and select all. Only 13.9% of you guys have notifications turned on. That's less than 7,000 subscribers out of 48 that we have in total. So if you never want to miss a video, if you want to know exactly when we publish shows here on the Lakers Report, go ahead and turn that bell icon on and select all. That way you are a part of the Noti gang. And like I mentioned, comment Noti gang on today's show for a chance to get a shout out. All right, how about trading for Malik Beasley, who has reportedly become available, because the Jazz are making everybody available at this point. There's a recent, I'll call it, I can't really call it a report, but Beasley's been linked to the Lakers recently, according to Heavy.com. An anonymous Western Conference executive had this to say: if you don't get Kyrie, you need shooting. If you do get Kyrie, you need shooting. I think Malik Beasley is the guy they should be looking at if they can get him from Utah. They asked about him when he was in Minnesota. Now they can try to get him in a situation where Utah does not want him. The Jazz want picks, so the Lakers would have to give up one of their picks, but he is in their range. And yeah, you need shooters. I mean, period. That's what you need. That's why we talked about Buddy Hield. That's why we're talking about Malik Beasley here, a guy who, you know, isn't a complete player, but one thing he does do is stretch the floor and shoot the basketball. Now, his role declined from 2 years ago to last year with Minnesota. Now he's in Utah, at least temporarily, as a part of that Rudy Gobert trade a couple of weeks ago. But he's always been a guy who can fill it up a little bit. I don't think you're going to get a 20-point scorer, which is what he was a couple of years ago. But can he give you 12 to 15 points and shoot high 30s, low 40s from three? I definitely think that is a possibility. He can start. He can come off the bench. Kind of a lesser Buddy Hield type, I would say, is probably what you would be getting here. But let's be honest, it's better than a lot of the wings and role players that you have currently on this roster. What's your interest in a Malik Beasley trade? Scale it from 1 to 10. I mean, would you do like a THT in a couple seconds, or a first even, for Malik Beasley? I'd give it about an 8. I'd be interested. I think he would be a key contributor for this basketball team. All right, if you love the Lakers, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Like I said, you sub, you turn on those noties, you're never going to miss a video here on the Lakers Report. More coverage to come, including a segment, potential lineups with Kyrie Irving. That'll drop in the coming days. We've built that entire video. All we got to do is film it and get it out to you guys. Potentially it'll go out tomorrow. Maybe it'll go the next day, depending on the latest Lakers news and rumors that are circulating as well. That's why you subscribe. Turn on noties, because you never know what type of coverage you're going to get. What you do know is you're going to get videos just about every single day on this channel.